Hello, my name is Thomas Loeffler, and today I'm gonna present you my research project. So, first of all, I would like to say that all the concepts and references cited in this presentation are available in the description of the video. So, to begin, I would like to say that since I'm young, I'm really concerned about nature, environment, and in particular, sustainable development. So for the overall perspective of my thesis, the subject focuses on the importance of sustainable development in international business. So all these researches will have the main goal of finding solutions for international companies to reduce substantially their impact on the environment, and all of this, of course, without threatening their business. So, with my experience and researches, I saw that the sustainable development is always something secondary, in particular in the field of international business or international trade. Nowadays, a lot of big companies focus on, of course, high productivity and profitability, neglecting most of the time the impacts on the environment. A good example is the recent events in Amazonian rainforest fire that are showing how far governments and big companies can go in order to develop themselves, and of course all of this by threatening the environment. And the most surprising thing for me and the most sad thing is that no one of the most powerful countries or companies in the world is saying nothing about that. Everyone avoids the topic. So that leads us to the specific research question, that is how to make sustainable development one of the biggest concerns of international trade, and how to reduce trade's impact on the environment. So this topic basically came to me because I worked 3 years as an engineer back in France, and I used to have several meetings with important people like regional representatives, architects, big owners, etc. And during these meetings, I always try to introduce the subject of sustainable development, and almost every time they answer to me like, we're really sorry, but that's not today's concern. We have more important things to do or to focus on right now. So every time I was really disappointed, but yeah, that's the thing, that's how it works today. So for me, this subject is really interesting because I think sustainable development is something that is becoming more and more important, and that may be compulsory in the coming years for international managers. So one of the first documents I studied is Mishelle DOORASAMY document or research in 2015 that explained that the concept of sustainable development has placed companies under pressure because they have to deal with it, and it's kind of something they have to take into account because there are pressures from stakeholders, shortages of natural resources, things like that. So they have to take it into account more and more. Another research that I studied has been made about Romania in 2015 and shows really interesting figures about CO2 emissions in Europe. So according to that study, almost 50% of the emissions are coming right from electricity or heat production, and that's quite a lot. And moreover, 18% of these emissions come from the transport. So we all know that in international business or international trade, the transport is a big issue, and the solutions to transport products of merchandise in a sustainable way are for the moment almost inexistent. So this research gave some other really interesting figures. For example, the volume of international seaborne trade that has expanded a lot these past decades. this volume was about 2.6 billion tons in 1970 and raised up to 10.3 billion tons in 2016. I have another relevant example for you. Do you know the ecological impact of an email? Maybe not. So you have to know that the path of an email from sending to reception is really, really long. An email travels through about 15,000 kilometers of cables and travels around thousands of computer servers. So all of this needs a lot of energy and everything. So according to a French study in 2014, an average email corresponds to 15 grams of CO2. So I just let you guess the impact of a worldwide company like Apple or Google, which are sending billions of email every year. It's just something huge. So obviously this email impact is just a small example of the 1,000 things a company could work on to trade in a sustainable way, and that's the main topic and the main subject of my thesis. Another relevant thing is that in her research in 2015, Mishelle DOORASAMY gave some example of the best practices in environmental management. So I will give you three examples of these best practices. The first one is the use of pollution prevention technologies. The second one is innovation of proprietary pollution prevention technologies. And the third one is like early timing. So of course, if you are like addressing environmental issues earlier than competitors or even before environmental regulation is established, it contributes positively to cost advantage, and yeah, it's good for you. So to put it in a nutshell, I would say that this topic is really interesting to do further researches in order to find better solutions or ways to do international business in a sustainable way. For the moment, we all know that there are a lot of ways for companies to reduce their ecological footprint, but unfortunately these ways or solutions are most of the time threatening or complicating their business. So of course these companies are not ready to take the first step into sustainable development. That's why my thesis would like really to focus on the means to raise the awareness and the solution to find some solutions to facilitate this transition. And yeah, that's it. So for the moment, this topic is really, really wide, and I would like maybe to have some advices from you guys, because yeah, maybe it's too wide, so it would be good, I think, to focus on a more specific thing. For example, the transport of merchandise from one continent to another or something like that. So yeah, if you have some advice to give to me, I'm listening. And yeah, thank you for your attention and have a good day.